What's happening all? It is Tuesday, the 26th of July. So another month's cranking by. And this is a good month to be through, in my opinion, just because I live in Arizona. And I freaking hate July and August. I hate to say that hate, but it's the truth. I can't stand the heat in this freaking place. But there's about 4 months of the year that you got to tolerate extreme heat, just we get to have awesome weather for the rest of the year. You go play around in the hills and whatnot. But what we've had is a lot of rain right now, which has been awesome. You know, the monsoon's been coming. It's been freaking the kind of monsoons that I remember as a kid. I talked about it before. A lot of rain's been coming. I mean, not a lot, but enough to where it's notable. So at least that. But it's making it, today's kind of cloudy, which is making today a very, very easy day to take. You know, because usually July coming to August, it's still pretty dang warm. What we've got going on this week was some, earnings coming out from Walmart, put a little pressure on the stocks since they came out with a little bit of a softer report than what they had thought, right? We missed estimates, gave a little bit of a weak forward guidance. Now Walmart, we know, is huge, right? They're 1.6 million employees, nearly 1% of the workforce of the United States. So that's pretty ridiculous when you're considering what they've got. Now, they said that the surging food and energy prices are causing people to spend less. So they've even had to lower prices to get rid of some of their inventory. So this could bring a little bit of relief in the inflation side of things. But, one of the things I'm thinking is when you think of ways that they're trying to combat inflation, the federal fund rate is what comes up. We got the Fed coming and talking about that tomorrow. They're going to be probably raising the rate 3/4, potentially 1%. We're right now at 1.75. So if they bring it up another point, it's 2.75. And when you think back on where things have been, at its highest point, we had Paul Volcker, who was the Fed back in the 80s during their right before the Reagan administration and through into the Reagan administration. If you go back to 1980 itself, they had a 20% federal fund rate in December of 1980. So going into 1981, it jumped from October to November from 12% to 18%. Can you imagine that big of a jump? They had massive jumps all over the place, and it was 20% earlier that year. They dropped it a bit at the end of the year. The late part of December, they dropped to 18%, then jumped it right back up to 20% in February. Dropped it down to 16 in April, then back up to 20 in May. So it was all over the place. A lot of swinging around at that point to try and quell inflation. So we don't have that right now. So we're not seeing that type of ridiculous movement by the Fed. Really, really slow and kind of telegraphed, if you will, and at small increments, 0.5% or 1/4%. Now they're looking at 3/4, maybe 1%. So it's not a big deal. I mean, it's not as big a deal as we make it out to be. So I would say be a little bit more calmer about that. Don't stress too much about it. The other thing that I'm thinking with the inflation thing here, Walmart just said, it's saying that the pressures are coming from other things, right? The expense of all these other things are slowing things down. People are not spending the kind of money they were spending before. And as a result of that, that is actually possibly impacting inflation for us by doing it by the goods themselves becoming more expensive, by the fact that we have the supply chain issues. Where before, the reason we even got to this inflationary position is we had way too much money floating around out there and people were going after all these goods and pushing the prices up. Now, because of the scarcity of goods and the prices of them being so high, now they're starting to come down a little bit. Like I said, Walmart had to drop some prices on some inventory to get it out. So we might see a little bit of a benefit to the economy as far as inflation is concerned, just by the nature of the expensive things. Now, when we get to gas and the overwhelming expensive stuff, don't think that I'm sitting here pushing that I believe that they should be raising these prices, the prices should go up. No, we need to be drilling like some bitches. We need to be getting out there and getting these pipelines moving. The whole fact that they did all that stuff, I can't stand behind. The bad business. And unfortunately, the individuals who are running this, they're not business people. They don't know anything about business. All they know about how to fill their freaking pockets by doing nothing to benefit anybody but themselves. So I'll get off of that soapbox. We'll go over to the markets here. We'll take a look at the charts real quick. So here's what we got. As it was last week, remember we talked about this on Friday. We're in the channel, got back up in there. We had this floor support. Looks like it's held. We're still in the middle of that. So we're in a pretty good shape. It's a very, very narrow channel to move in. I'm thinking if we maintain that spot, we've been in it a little bit before, went out of it, went back into it. This might be a place we're going to hover for a while, might get some time out of it and back in it. But if we stay in there, interest rates can be fairly consistent. Where we're at with the rates right now, it could get moved with any massive movement in the markets or things going on as far as the economy is concerned that alarms the bond traders. If the Fed does something different than what they're anticipating, but when it comes to the federal fund rate tomorrow, they're anticipating 3/4, maybe 1. That shouldn't affect us negatively, either one of those, because again, they're expecting that to happen. They're expecting this to come about to try and keep inflation under control. So we'll see how this all plays out. I'm not overly concerned about it, but if you do have a property that's coming up ready to lock, get that sumbitch locked. Don't try and worry about this. When people start pushing you to chase interest rates, it's because they don't care about you. Yeah, those are the people you got to worry about. When all they're doing is talking interest rates, they're not talking about anything else. There's something going on there. So you might want to be a little bit leery about that kind of deal. Yeah, and if you're out there looking for properties, there's a lot out there as far as inventory is concerned. If you're wondering about the inventory, call me. We'll talk about it. There's probably stuff sitting in your inbox that you're not sure of right now. I know for a fact there's stuff sitting out there that people aren't jumping on where they could. They should. Doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't at this point. But for some reason, everybody's a little bit apprehensive. Let the other guy be apprehensive. The only thing I'm going to tell you, be sure you're holding people accountable to what they say they're going to do. If somebody says they're offering a specific situation and it's supposed to be a turnkey or whatever it is, hold them accountable to it. Make sure they do the job they say they're going to do. As long as everybody does their part and everybody's accountable, things just work. It's when people are trying to pull the wool over you and trying to get ahead at your expenses when shit doesn't work. The other thing is, if you want people to do their part, you better damn well do yours. You sign up on something, you put your signature at the bottom line, you fulfill your obligation. You say you're going to do something, you fulfill your obligation. It's like the beard thing here. I said I was going to do it. I fulfilled it. I'm going to continue to run with the brand, of course, but you do your part. You never, ever, ever say what you're not intending to fulfill. You do that, expect others to do that, and everybody does that. Stuff just works. It's when people start promising shit that they don't deliver on, that's where things go bad. And people need to honor their word. And also to honor the intent. Here's the other thing. Just because you didn't write it in a contract, if you intended to do something or you communicated in a way that you were going to do something for another person, go back and say, because it wasn't in the damn contract, you're not going to do it. Honor not only your word, but honor your intent. Honor the intent that they believe you're willing to do. If you're that type of person, you'll always be successful because you'll always have other successful people wanting to work with you. Done with my rant. That was what I could offer for today. Come back around on Friday, give you the summation of what happens with the Fed coming out and doing their adjustments. Anything you need from us, reach out to us. We're more than happy to give you any data we can. Reach out to us for the app, right? To be able to calculate inflation, how it impacts you. If you want the history of interest rates, I'll get you that spreadsheet as well. Just shoot me an email. You go right to the website, aaron.chapman.com, do the communication to us, and we'll get you that information so you have something to look at, a little bit of reading material. Thanks, guys. See you on Friday.